Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Had a lot of stories cross my desk this past week, and as I was wading through them, my good friend Damon sent me a note and said, Steve, did you miss this story? Well, I hadn't done it yet, but here we are. From Fox News, Morgan Phillips wrote it. Navy leader demoted after she conspired with chiefs to run illegal Wi-Fi network on Warship. She lied to commanding officers about the network at least 3 times, and that's not good either. A U.S. Navy Command senior chief was demoted for conspiring with other Navy chiefs to install an illegal Wi-Fi network on a warship that they then used to check sports scores and watch TV shows. So apparently they were unhappy with the cable that came with the warship and decided to get their own. The senior enlisted Navy officer reportedly installed a Starlink network on the USS Manchester, and it was nicknamed Stinky for some weird reason. The command senior chief installed and operated the unauthorized network during a deployment in 2023. She charged the $1,000 a month cost of the network to a Leadership Association debit card. So it was rather expensive in terms of just getting Wi-Fi, but then again, if you're on a warship out at sea, the options available to you might be limited. I don't think you can run a cable out to that ship and have the ship dragging a cable around. So she then lied and misled her commanding officer about the network at least 3 times, according to the charge sheet that the Fox News reviewed. So it's partly that she did this, and it's partly that she lied to commanding officers about it. As the Manchester prepared for a West Pacific deployment back in 2023, they say that she conspired with the ship's chief to install the secret network, and it would be exclusive to them. In other words, they didn't say, hey, everybody, we've all got Wi-Fi, here's the password. It was limited to a select few. The chiefs used the network to check sports scores, text, and stream movies. That's according to the internal investigation obtained by the Navy Times. She was demoted from senior chief petty officer to chief petty officer after being found guilty of dereliction of duty and providing false official statements to commanders. Before her trial, the Naval Surface Force Pacific, or SURFPAC, quietly relieved her of her leadership position aboard the Manchester. SURFPAC spokesperson told the Navy Times that other sailors were disciplined in connection to the unauthorized Wi-Fi, but declined to provide further details. I'm curious about something, and I'll admit my knowledge of Navy ships today, modern Navy ships, is probably limited, but I've studied boats on some level. I've read a couple really good books about the Titanic over there, and also I've read a lot about the various naval battles of World War II. But when it comes to Wi-Fi tends to have a hard time going through stuff. Okay, it depends on what the stuff is and how far it's got to go and so on. But it seems to me that Wi-Fi might have a hard time traveling through all the metal on board a warship. So I'm wondering how they had this set up to work and how good it worked. But that's not the point. Using such a wireless network for entertainment could cause a serious security breach. The investigation warned that the danger such systems pose to the crew, the ship, and the Navy cannot be understated. So there I was worried about reception. They're worried about safety. Go figure. Prosecutors say that the person in question here failed to prevent the USS Manchester's exposure to operational security risk as it was her duty to do. She had paid for the Starlink dish on her personal credit card and was the network administrator. Now, that Starlink dish cost $2,800, but elsewhere it listed that the cost of the network was $1,000 a month that was being charged to a Leadership Association debit card. So it looks like some of these costs she picked up on her own. Others she shuffled off in ways that probably were not appropriate. She and another chief installed the dish during an aloft time when duties aren't recorded in the ship's logs, according to the Navy Times. So there will be people in the audience who are familiar with the Navy. You'll also know I've got this USS cold plate there. It's been there for quite some time. And so maybe some people can answer some of these questions about what aloft time is and how hard it would be to install the Starlink dish and then the network itself on the boat without being spotted. That's the question. So she named the network Stinky. to make it sound like a wireless printer, though there were no such printers on the ship. And I'm not quite sure why naming something stinky makes you think, oh, that's a printer, as opposed to a network. But I know the concept. And that is, if somebody opens up something that says, find all, things near me, it'll often pop up other things that are on the Wi-Fi. So when junior sailors and commanding officers began to notice the network, the person here denied its existence. She also altered a data display image for the Starlink account to reflect lesser data usages. Okay, so I don't know if she did that after she got caught, if she's tampering with evidence, or if she's simply trying to make it look like it's not so bad if she does get caught. These are all possibilities. The Starlink dish was discovered on August 18th of that year, and it looks like this whole thing started in April. So somehow you got 3 or 4 months of use out of this before they got caught. But it was a civilian who came on board to install an authorized satellite communication system. And the civilian goes, well, wait, you've already got something. What's this? The gig is up, she texted a crew member at the time. Cheese it, the fuzz. After being confronted, she and other chiefs tried to remove the dish, then told commanders they only used it while in port. She finally admitted to being behind the illegal network to her commanding officer on August 26th. Court records show that she pleaded guilty to 2 counts of dereliction of duty and 1 count of obstruction of justice. So I'm not sure if the network thing being set up, the Wi-Fi being set up, and the Starlink dish and all this stuff being set up, I'm not sure if that in and of itself would create a security risk, presuming that it is simply receiving signals. But of course, if it allows people on board the ship to communicate with people who are not on board the ship in a way that is not overseen or authorized by the people who run the ship, that of course could be a security risk. But what's even crazier about this is they allege that she lied to commanding officers, or told lies, plural, to a commanding officer at least, and to do this so they could check sports scores, text and stream movies. And someplace else said, and watch television shows. I mean, we can't miss our friends' reruns, can we? And so this is the kind of thing where you hear about this and you're like, wait, what? And I've often seen situations. I've been on this planet for quite some time. I point out that I've been practicing law for 33 years, but of course I've been an adult for longer than that. And I always try to follow interesting stories in the news now because it's something I do on YouTube to talk about. But I've always kind of read these stories and found them amusing because you look at it and go, what's going on where you're on board a Navy vessel and you've got a job to do, but you apparently think to yourself, boy, I really wish I could get faster access to sports scores, and I wish I could watch some TV shows that I can't apparently watch out here. And to go to this effort and order this network thing and install it and then have it running for a while and then to get caught is, you understand, it's pretty hard to pull something like this off. Like, let's suppose that instead of the civilian contractor finding it, that somebody else finds it and goes, because here's the thing. There are going to be people on board that ship who know every single inch of it, inside and out. And someone is going to look and go, is that dish supposed to be there? That dish wasn't there a while ago. Where'd that dish come from? Start asking questions. Hey, does anybody know what that dish does? Why is that dish there? What's that dish doing? Someone's going to spot it. And so once they find it and discover what company it's from, it wouldn't be that hard for the Navy to contact Starlink and go, yeah, we've got this Starlink thing that's been placed on our ship. Can you tell us whose name is on the account? And they'd get to the bottom of it very quickly. So one of the things that, you read a story like this and you think to yourself, like, wow, it's the lack of judgment to think I'm going to do this, risk my career, and I think I can get away with it. And again, to the guys and gals in the audience who served. Someone's going to be able to tell me whether I'm right or wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. That there are people who know those ships, who are on board those ships, who will spot anything out of place. So how do you expect to get away with this? I don't get it. I don't get it. And so when you're asked, why'd you do it? Why'd you do it? Oh, I was hoping to catch up on sports scores and watch some TV shows. You know, because quite frankly, this ship's a little boring. If I was the commanding officer and I found out that you actually thought the ship was boring, I would find ways to make your cruise a little more interesting. See, it isn't a pleasure cruise. It's a warship. So Damon and everybody else, thanks for sending it. But a Navy leader was demoted after she conspired with chiefs to run an illegal Wi-Fi network on a warship and is alleged to have lied to commanding officers about it at least 3 times. Morgan Phillips wrote that for Fox News. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Where do forest rangers go to get away from it all?